And we're live. Good morning. Hi, Jennifer.
Good morning, Belinda, and everyone else out there. How are you doing today?
Well, me personally, I'm doing just pretty great. And I'm thinking that next week, as a matter of fact, at this time, I will be halfway to Kansas City. So we're driving Monday and Tuesday. And so I'll be on my way. So I have no idea if we'll be in Texas or Oklahoma or what. So, and I always hope I have good service. I never know because we won't wait till because it'll be later. Here this morning at 7:30 here in Vegas, 9:30 your time. So at some point it'll be 8:30 or 9:30 wherever I am, and I hope I have good service. So just a little heads up, guys.
That's it. That's it. Well, we roll with any of it. You know that.
Yes, we do. We are very flexible. Yes, we are. I see Linda Parrish. Good morning, and Miss Kathy. I see you've got some little good luck charms over there with coming into St. Patrick's Day, right? Tina, good morning. Hey, Tina, how are you doing? Tina was in the hospital last week with a little heart problem, and I was glad to hear that she was doing better. Are you still doing okay? You home and things working? Okay, so I'm gonna say a quick hello. I want to see if I can type in the box here, see if everybody gets that. I'm gonna do a quick hello. I don't see mine yet, but maybe there it is. Ta-ta! Okay, cool. All right, wonderful. So let's see. Any other announcements as we wait for a couple of people? I like to give folks a few minutes to get on. Any things, Miss Jennifer?
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I started a poll on Delinda's page, and sadly, the way Facebook works, I can't easily just move the poll up. So if you go back just about 2 or 3 weeks ago on a Monday, I inquired where you're living. I want to fill the map of the United States with the shade of pink, and it's Delinda Pink is what I call it. But I'm filling in all the states. So if you haven't voted on that, please go out and do that. I just think it will be so much fun. But it's on the Fun Fearless Female page, or in the group page. So please just go back and look for that and give a little vote. And if you don't see your state there, type it in. I try to check it every day and just see if there's a new one. So I think we're up to 10 states, if I remember my count.
Oh, good. Right. Well, I noticed the pink is spreading, and I know we have some people in some of those other states. Mm-hmm. And so let's say, for instance, Kathy, I'll use you an example because you're always so gracious about letting me use you an example. I know that you know people everywhere. I mean, you are our connector person. And so if you could invite somebody from another state, say, hey, we're looking for somebody from whatever, Illinois or North Dakota. That might be a hard one. Come join us in Fun Fearless. Because it really would be fun. And Jennifer, I think I did put it as an announcement. So I think it is in the first 4 messages.
Oh, good.
So yeah, because I thought, well, this is getting down too far. We need to try to keep it up.
Yeah, and otherwise I have to recreate it, and I don't want to do that. And I know I can put a link, and I'll try to remember to do that maybe later this week. But yeah, and we don't have very many votes. Again, we have 10 states, and even if your state's already listed, go ahead and give it a like, give it a vote. That way we kind of can see where we're at. So.
Oh yeah, and Kathy asked a good question. May we add the state where we were born? Good question.
It is. Maybe I'll do a second poll with that, and that way I can keep it separated. Maybe we'll do 2 maps. Let me process that one through. But I think it would be fun to do.
It would be fun. It would be fun to do.
Mine's boring because I live in the same state I was born in. So.
Oh. Not me. I was born in Louisiana. I live in Las Vegas, and my family's in Kansas. So what can I say? Also, we are, so next Thursday, be sure to mark your calendars, March 25th is our 4th Thursday lunch, except it's not really lunch. So event, okay, or let's call it that. Because, and again, I'll be actually in Kansas City, so I'll be doing it at 1:30 KC time. But it shows up on the event as 11:30 because that's where it's set up from here from Vegas. But anyway, and the fun part, and this was Jennifer's idea, it's so cool. Oh, North Carolina, that's cool. Is that what is your favorite, could be past or present, TV show? And then figure out what that is, and then make yourself a background. Since we're going to be on Zoom, and if you know how to do that, if you don't, reach out to one of us. We can tell you how to easily do that. But find the TV show and then make yourself a background with it, and we'll all guess as to what your favorite show is, and then you can tell us why. So it should be fun. I mean, it really should be fun. So anyway, next Thursday, I'm going to actually post that again today after the show. I'll be posting that, and then again, throughout the week to make sure everybody has a chance to remember. Linda says, I'm a New Yorker. I'm not very good at accents, but that's good. Oh gosh. So Jennifer, start us out. I'm gonna just have you start us out, because this, again, Jennifer has so many great ideas, and she got this one from her daughter. So I'll let her tell you about what we're talking about this morning.
I did. Actually, Victoria sent me a little screenshot, and she said, I think you and Delinda need to have this conversation. And the question asked is, when was the last time someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? But I'm going to ask you, Delinda, when do you remember the first time? I mean, about how old would you have been when someone asked you that question?
Oh my goodness. It would have been really young. I mean, would have been, we start asking kids that by the time they're 2 or 3 years old.
2 and 3 years old. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, and it's interesting because I was thinking about that. I was like, well, we're going to have this topic. I mean, what would my answer be? So I think that back then I would have said I wanted to be a movie star, a singer on stage, or Miss America. I mean, I hate to admit that it's at a young age, but that's sort of where my brain's always been.
and that's a very, I would say, common answer. I mean, because when we think about it, we ask the kids this, we know it's more than likely not going to be whatever diploma is hanging on their wall or accolades on their mantle, but it's always interesting, and because they look at it with a childlike wonder.
Yes.
They look at it with what is in the realm of that's around them. If their dad's a firefighter, they probably want to be a fireman. They may want to be a garbage truck driver, because to them, that's the coolest job. They drive around in a truck all day. And to little boys, that is the coolest job in the world. I remember a young child telling me they wanted to be a fire hydrant.
Oh, really?
Because their favorite color was red. And fire hydrants get to play with water all the time whenever they get turned on. And I'm like, but that's that childlike wonder that when we ask those questions in their realm, that's how they look at it. And then we start asking this question again, 3rd, 4th grade. Well, then we're starting to get a little more serious. They're aware of other jobs, but they're really only aware of doctors, lawyers, nurses, accountants, those kind of things, depending on what kind of is in their world. They don't realize the vastness of career opportunities that are out there.
Yeah.
But then as they get into high school, we start to zero in. And then what are you going to major in college? And then the panic that every parent has when the child calls to say, I changed my major. But
exactly.
But it's okay. And I want to tell every parent out there, it really is okay, because it means they were exposed to something new. They don't want to be a spaghetti noodle anymore. They want to be something else. And it's okay. But we stop asking. Once they get that degree and that diploma, we stop asking. We stop asking them. We stop asking ourselves. Right. And I think we should be asking ourselves that question.
Yeah.
Because
so let's look over in our thing. And so if each of you that are on there, when you were younger, and I see Kathy put her answer in, teacher since the age of 4. And and
I would say Kathy is still a teacher. I would say Kathy is a teacher. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And let's see, Linda says, in my late teens, I thought I was going to be a kindergarten teacher because I played piano and thought it would be cool to play and sing with the kiddos. Oh, what a great idea. But I came close. I taught Sunday school with my mom for a few years with 3 and 4-year-olds. Such a blast. I miss those days. Yeah. And I think, too, a lot of our answers when we were younger had to do with what we thought. At some point, it became what we thought was available and what our choices were. And many, many girls thought of being teachers because at that time, it was kind of you're a teacher or a nurse. For those of us who are older. Now, those of y'all who are younger, you already began to see you could be anything you want to be. But I think definitely in my age group, by the time we were in, later grade school or junior high, even, it was like, well, teacher, nurse, work in an office, secretary or something like that. And the girls growing up behind us, like you, Jennifer, you're enough younger than I, that I think those possibilities began to really expand. Like,
they
well, I
did.
really could be an astronaut, or I
Mhm.
could be, you could be the doctor instead of the nurse. I mean,
Right. Exactly. And that's, I think, the important thing is things have evolved and they have changed. And I think that's one of those things, and again, I wanted to be an astronaut. I remember
Oh,
that is what I wanted to be. I remember studying science books, but I will tell you, for me, and it's probably a good thing because I get motion sick, so I would not have been a good astronaut. But I watched the Challenger explode when I was 12 years old.
ooh.
And right then and there, it no longer was this fun idea of being a scientisty person and being in space. It was a dangerous job, and it brought a reality to it. And I refocused, and I was like, nope, I don't want to do that. And that's okay. I mean, again, it really is probably for the best. But
So
it's
Jennifer,
interesting the things that change.
what how old were you? What grade were you in when that happened?
I was 12, so I would have been in the 7th grade, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That sounds about, yeah, I think that's about right. Sorry, I had to
Uh,
stop and do the math there. I was 6th or 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah, because I think a lot of us remember that. That was one of
mhm,
those, where were you? There's a
yeah,
few of those through our history. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, my kids were in
yeah,
elementary school, I think maybe fourth and fifth grade or something.
yeah. And
So
it
yeah,
and
so
it
that
is
does change it. It does
it
change it.
does. And it puts a different spin on it. And so for me it was like, all right, now I still love science. Again, I'm still a geek and I'm still a nerd and I still love science fiction and all of those things, but nope, no more desire to need to go to space. So, but that's okay. Again,
Yeah,
there's other
don't
people
want to really
willing to
be
take those risks and
dangerous.
such. But I think if you ask that question now, and that's what this post that I shared with you from Victoria is, I don't answer it with a job title anymore. You ask me, what
Sure.
do I want to be when I grow up? I want to be financially stable. I want to be healthy enough to crawl on the ground and stack blocks with my grandchildren in the future for hours on end. I want to own my own home free and clear. I have different things, but it's all more goal oriented than title oriented. And I think
Mhm.
that's why we need to start asking ourselves that question. So, Delinda, I ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Gosh, a lot of what you said, I think that it does definitely change as we get older. And I love that Victoria said we should talk about this subject, because people stop asking. And so then we do stop asking that question to ourselves. And for those of us who more are in, most people would classify me in retirement age. Well, the last thing I want to do is retire. I mean, but I want to live life differently. And that's a whole different subject. And that's exactly what you're talking about. So,
Mhm.
yeah, basically, the financial independence, and the health, I think that is changing more now, becoming more important. It has over the last couple of years, because I now do have grandkids, and it'll be a few years till they start riding their bikes and doing all that. But when they do, I want to be there to be part of that activity with them. And I think that's like I say, get down on the floor and take them play and take them to the park. So those type of things are more important to me now. So when I grow up, I want to play. I want the wonder of a child. I want
Yeah.
to go and enjoy that, being with them and watching that. One of the things I think I've said before is, when we were in Kansas City the last time and we took Henry and August Rain to that place. I forget the name. You'll have to tell me, where the train goes around
Oh,
for the
Fritz's. Yes.
hamburgers.
Fritz's.
Well,
Fritz's restaurant.
is it? Oh, Fritz's,
Fritz.
yeah. And his the joy to watch Henry, and he's like, oh, choo 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 choo. It was like so
Mhm.
just beautiful, just the
Yep.
the beauty of watching his face. And there's no reason why we, as we get older, can't have a sense
Mhm.
of joy, a sense of wonder of what life is. But I think we get so um, um burdened down, or whatever the word is, with reality of what really is, that we sort of lose that sense. We lose that beautiful innocence and wonder of children. So I think, as we get older, what do you want to be in a grow up? Well, I want I want to have a life of wonder and an
Mhm.
expectation and joy.
Exactly. And I think that's what we lose sight of. Like you said, the real world gets in the way really quick. We have
Yeah.
bills to pay, and you got kids you're hauling to soccer practice, and you have all of these things. But I think that's why we need to stop and ask our question, and it's also okay if you go back to the job title. Let's say you went to school and you became that accountant, or you whatever it is, and
Right.
you realize at the age of 40, I don't like this. I'm not happy. Okay, what do you want to be? Guess what?
Right.
If you're 40 and you lived to 90, that's 50 years. You're not even halfway through your life yet.
I know.
You have
And that's a
50
good
more years.
perspective. That's a really
Mhm.
great perspective because our lifespan is getting larger. So,
It is.
you know, I remember when my mother hit 70, and because she's in that different generation, but when she hit 70 and she retired, she had been traveling the road as an antique dealer. I mean, my mother was an active woman and really worked hard. And she just decided that it was time to retire. And she just really stopped,
Mhm.
and because she thought, well, this is time for me to, I've earned this. And yeah, she
Mhm.
had. But, when you think about it, she's now 91. So she's been retired for 21 years. And she's now set a new goal that she's going to live to be 100. And I said, great, we're going to have the biggest party you ever saw when you hit 100. So thinking about that, whatever your age is, you, let's just use 100 as a marker or
Mhm.
use 95, whatever
Yeah.
that might be, and just keep thinking about, so what is it you want to do or be or have or
Mhm.
whatever that answer is when you grow up in these next 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, whatever, depending on what your age is.
Exactly. And again, I think a lot of people we get in these, and I'd call it a rut.
Yeah.
It is. It's, and I know, and I tell people that it's, and Victoria and I've had these conversations. That's like, yeah, the days of where a job is you retire after 50 years of being at the exact same job, that is a rarity.
There.
Um, my husband will do that. He has been with his company for over 25 years and he will retire from there. I am fairly certain of that. And that's great and fine. I mean, it's perfect for him. It's an amazing fit. Can't count the number of places I've worked, but I'm okay with it. But I actually am very content with what I'm doing. Because again, you talk about what do you want to be when you grow up? No one says I want to sell insurance. I'm just telling you, nobody is saying that, but I had an opportunity and something crossed my path that had never dawned on me could be a career. And I think we need to always be open to that. And, I look at people who are doing sideline gigs and doing some of that, and it's like, that's where their passion is. And it's okay to have two things. You can be a
Absolutely.
doctor and be a famous artist or an illustrator of children's books. That's perfectly fine. Nobody says you only get to pick one. You can pick three or four. And
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And I look at some of the people who do have some sidelines that they go, this is really what is paying my bills. I'm doing this. But boy, I love getting to work with people doing this. And maybe it eventually turns into a job. Maybe it stays as a little bit of a sideline hobby. That's okay. It's
Mhm.
everyone's path is different. And I think that's the fun part about it.
Yeah, and I think that is part of that growing up process also is to realize that there are so many things out there and you have a choice. You can choose more than one. Again, when you're younger, you're just thinking, oh, and probably up until about your 40s, whatever that through the 20s and 30s, you're driven for your career, whatever that thing that you've chosen, whatever that is. And then somewhere in the 40-ish, you start looking, okay, is this, I've been doing this now a while. Is this really what I want? Is this what I'm going to continue? And certainly for women, if they've been moms at home, by the time they hit their 50s and they become empty nesters, that question really comes forth. Okay,
Mhm.
my life is changing. My kids are gone. I now can kind of do whatever I want. What is that?
Right.
So, what do I want to be when I grow up? This is my next season,
Mhm.
because really our lives are in seasons.
They
I
are.
think that's a great way of looking at it, and it's
Mhm.
not winter and summer. It's like, what's the next season? This is
Yeah.
maybe it's always spring in our hearts that we're doing something different. let's take a look over here and those of y'all who have comments, I'm going to come back over here because I want to read this because I see we have a lot of comments this morning. I love that. I have to scroll backwards. Isn't that awesome?
I love it.
That. All right. So, and good morning, Karen and Sherry. Linda Paris says, in my late teens. Oh, okay. So I read that one already. And then Sherry says, I want to be a social worker and help others. And then, okay, because some of these we're getting twice. That's so interesting. Then she also said to help others and be a mom. So yes. And she also says that she was born in Alaska. We'll have to add that on the next time.
We'll do that. I'll figure out a way to do that one.
Yeah, we'll do that one next. That'll be great. Linda says exactly. Growing up in the 50s and 60s, there were no careers for women. It was, housewives, stewardesses, nurses, teachers was about it. I forgot about the stewardess. I did want to be one of those. Although I also wanted to be a Kilgore Rangerette, the Kilgore Rangerettes. Do you know what those were? In Texas, Kilgore, Texas, they had this dance team and they were beautiful and perfect. And they were known for their high kicks. And I so wanted to be one of those girls. But you had to be 5'6" because everybody had to be the same height so that the kicks would match. And I was only 5'4". So that let me out. So, you guys need to think about it. I bet you have some of these funny things in your head that you thought you wanted to be. And then it's like, okay. But I did think I wanted to be a stewardess. Of course, now they're flight attendants because, And Grace says, I think that the point is a great one, Jennifer. I want to be the best woman that I can be and share what I can with other women. Not being blessed to be a mom, I want to be a mentor to young women as well. Oh, that's wonderful. Sherry says again, why grow up? Be the best version of you and have fun too is so important and make a difference in others' lives. Absolutely. Linda says, I'll never grow up. Yes. So I think because I know so many of you, matter of fact, everybody that's commenting, I know you, Jennifer, and I know y'all. And I think that really is true. We already are very young at heart. I mean, that's what keeps us not feeling or acting our age. But again, that keeps changing too. So, okay. Now, Kathy, synchronized, does that mean like synchronized swimming or what does that mean?
I'm thinking she's visualizing you synchronized kicking. I think that's, we now will have a visual of you in a dance line.
Well, I guess it goes and put me on chorus line on stage. Sorry, my brain, it's just, my mother said to me when I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and she said, what is with you that you just always have to be out in front? And I said, I don't know, Mother. I just was made that way. That's
right.
And it's not that I think I'm better than anybody else. It's just like, I want to, I think it's more, I want to share the joy of whatever it is. And the more people I can share it with at a time, the better, right?
Yep, exactly. And like I said, and that's the fun part. I mean, we're sitting here and we laugh at it, but I also say, and you and I talked about this briefly before we went live, when you do ask a kid what they want to be and they answer with something dorky, and I'm going to say it's dorky, a spaghetti noodle, a fire hydrant, or whatever, there's something at the core of that they see as a task, whether it's a spaghetti noodle is floppy and it makes people happy, or it's my favorite food and I want to be everybody's favorite, or there's something, if you really got in probably the psychology of it all, that drills into what it is that they're wanting to say. They just don't have a word for it. They don't have a title for it. So, and like I said, they want to be a pirate. They don't want to go out and steal and hurt people. They watch cartoons where pirates are jumping around and swinging from sail to sail and doing all that. That's what they want to do. They want to figure out how can I make money, own a boat, and have fun. And to them, that's a pirate. That's a kid's logic.
I think it's the have fun. I think as adults, that is oftentimes what we lose, because life becomes serious and about paying the bills and raising their kids and whatever. And sometimes we lose the fun along the way. And that's, it's like, don't lose the fun, nope. Let's go back.
Don't do it. And I haven't watched it yet. So, but I've watched the previews for it. There's a movie on Netflix called Say Yes or Yes Day. It's called Yes Day. And the concept is the parents are always saying, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. And the kids challenge them to one 24-hour period where they have to always say yes. And so they're eating ice cream for breakfast and they're having a water balloon fight in the house. I mean, full on parents just say, yes, but it brings back that childlike wonder. And I think that's what we're missing. I think there's a lot of seriousness out there. And there's things we should be serious about and we need to take, keep focused on. And we look at politics, we look at the world, we look at all those things, and we need to know what's going on. But sometimes we need a break. And I think having some fun is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you find that on your phone? I do have the thing.
Do you have it? Okay, good. I cannot get it to pull up on mine. So.
Okay. So the article or whatever that it was that Victoria sent to Jennifer was written by a gal named Rachel Elizabeth Cargill. I'm not sure how to say it. And I'm going to read her answer of what she did. Her basic thing was just, she wished people would ask her, they quit asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, asking 32-year-old me, what would you say when you grew up? And this is what she would say. So she must be 32 because she said, now I would certainly say, I want to be well. I want to be rested, satisfied. I want to be a good listener. I want to be giggly. I want to be expectant. I want to be grounded and surprised. And I want to be romanced. I want to be abundant. I want to be, whoops. Oh, I can't do two things at once. What do you say? Where did that go now? Okay. Oh, well, grounded. And then I think her other one was abundant and available. So, and I think those are wonderful words that often we don't think of when somebody says, what do you want to be when you grow up? Particularly when you're young, in your teens and your 20s, that's the last kind of stuff you would probably think of, but as, it's one of the benefits of age, of getting older and hopefully wiser and having more experiences. We begin to change what our priorities are, that being, all of those traits that she just mentioned, the things that we've talked about become more important than a job. But hopefully along the way, you have a job that also helps you with all of those things that you want. So, yeah, I thought that was great. So tell Victoria, thank you very much for sharing that.
I will do that
today.
Yeah, like I said, and everybody in different, as you said, the seasons of your life. I'm stuck between my daughter's graduating grad school. So even though I remind her, she has been an adult for a number of years, but she doesn't feel like it because she still lives at home, and we do tend to things so she can focus on school. That's been our trade-off in that. But she's entering that stage in her life this next season. My mom's, you do the math, I'm 47, so she's in her 60s. And we're having conversations. What does her work life look like? Where are we at? What is her plan? And so I'm stuck between looking at these two people in two different seasons in their lives. And it causes me to then reflect. It's like, okay, where have I been for the last 20 years? Where am I going in the next 20? What do I want that to look like? And what do I put in my path to make that happen?
So Jennifer, what is your answer? So what is your answer when you grow up, starting from like right now?
From right now?
Since you've been reflecting on that.
Since I've been reflecting, I want to be the best mom and friend to everyone in my family. I consider my sisters my friends. My daughter, obviously my daughter, but still my best friend, truly, and my husband. I want to be that person, and I just want to make my world. I can't change the world, but I can change my world. I want to make my world, my home, my neighborhood, my small part of my community, the best I can make it, and support it however I can. And those are my focuses.
And that is exactly what you're doing. I mean, I watch you do it all the time. Okay, because I know there's something that you're very passionate about. Are you going to continue to add more beauty to the world from your camera?
I am needing to do more of that. That is where we talk about the two sides. I need that creative side to come back a lot more. This last year was probably the perfect excuse to do it, but I also used it as a crutch to not tap into that. I wanted to keep that, I guess, hidden from the nastiness, and that makes me sad. So, yes, that is something that is I actually, and it's funny you say that. It's not funny because we both know how and why, but I pulled out the camera bag and got lenses cleaned, and I'm ready. I'm ready to dive back into that. So that is.
Yay, good. Because I would think that would be part of your answer, because I know you, is that part of your, when I grow up, I want to bring more beauty to the world through your camera lens, because you take beautiful pictures and it gives you joy, and takes you, like I say, into that creative side. And I think that that's important. Another thing to just kind of point out is, as people ask you that question, as you think about it, we have these different sides of ourselves. And so we have the work side, or the changing of that, whatever that looks like. But it's so good to have, harmony, because, I don't really believe that we can be total balance. I think harmony is a better word.
Harmony is good.
Between the work side and the play side, or the working and the creative side, so, if you're one that works on details and numbers and spreadsheets, then adding that creative side of something totally different, it makes you enjoy the other side. I mean, it really, when we add that into our life, and that's usually the place we drop. I mean, when, like you were saying, Jennifer, it's like when the world changes, or when things change, or other, your work takes priority, whatever that looks like in each person's life, we tend to drop those other things. I was shocked when I realized that for the first 6-7 months of the pandemic, I didn't sing. I cannot even believe, when I look back, I didn't. And the thing is, I didn't even realize that I wasn't singing, and that is the joy of my heart. So when church opened back up, then I started singing again. Why there was no reason I couldn't be singing.
Right. Yeah. But I think, like I said, I think we both protected that. I think it was a way of, this is mine, and you're taking away everything else. You're not taking this, and I'm going to keep it buried, which is not always good. We do need to let those things loose sometimes.
Yeah. So each of you that are on and watching, either now, that live, or those that watch it later, think about that to yourself. Is there something that you have hidden away this year, or that you put on the way back burner because you didn't think it was important, or maybe you thought it was so important you didn't want to bring it forward? Whatever your reason, and I don't know that I even thought about it, because like I said, I didn't even realize it till we were 6 months in. But whatever that is, what have you maybe let go of this last year that does bring you that joy, that does give you that sense of wonder, that you can bring back? Put that on your, on your, what do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be whatever, an artist, a photographer, that creative side that maybe you have let go of this year. So I encourage you to do that, because I think that's what then brings that harmony to our life.
And I say, go to a park, watch the children. Even if, again, if you have grandchildren, young children in your lives, that's great. But somehow find a child that you can watch climb up the slipper slide and think, oh my gosh, they have that imagination. Try to just watch it for the pure joy that it is. We went to a movie this weekend, and it was a Disney movie. We all know the hero wins. We all know the bad guy's going to lose, all of that. I mean, we're adults. It's a story. It's the same. All of them are the same. And there was a little girl sitting three seats away from me. We were in a theater. And at the very end, the heroine the bad guys are gone and everything. And that little girl, as loud as she could, I mean, she was so engrossed in the movie, just went, yes, like that. I looked at her and I was so happy. I mean, it brought tears to my eyes, because she was so caught up in the story. I'm sitting here going, okay, how are they going to solve it? What's going to be I'm going through the formula. And she just in the moment went with the story. And I was like, I need to go watch that movie again so I can be like her. And that's what I want to be when I grow up, is I want to be her.
Yeah. And that childlike wonder, just seeing the world, like I say, through the eyes of a child. I watched a thing on Hallmark. I know actually we've hit the top of the hour.
Sorry.
I watched this, and I can't say that I love this series, but I've started watching it. When Calls the Heart on Hallmark.
Mhm.
And a new family moved into this town, and the dad was a carpenter and fixed this thing up, and they had 2 kids, and the daughter is 14, and she is blind. And so the mom and the dad are sitting on the porch, and the teacher, who's one of the main characters, are sitting there, and this little girl, they haven't emptied the it's hard to tell the story, but it's so cool what she does. So they hadn't emptied the truck of all the things yet to put in the house because they were just moving in. And she went up to the side of the truck, and she could feel the piano keys. And so she lifted her hand up in the piano, and then, and again, like I said, she's blind. She climbs up on the side of the truck and sits down right by the piano and begins playing. And it's like, oh my gosh. And they had already set up that she did play the piano, but she played. She started playing Claire de Lune. And if y'all know that song touches my heart beyond. There is something so beautiful about it. And I think Kathy said that her mom played that a lot. But just this little 14, not little, but this 14-year-old girl up there, and she just brought that joy to every, the mom and the dad and her little brother and the teachers all sitting there watching her and listening to that beautiful music. And that's part of that wonder. Nothing was stopping her, and she was smiling. She was like in heaven, so to speak, with that. So that's what I want when I grow up.
There you go. I love it.
To be that,
Yeah.
So
wonderful.
Anyway, well, this has been so fun. Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing us this great subject. Karen says, have a great day, ladies. She's got to go. She's going to head out. Everybody, I know it is time. We're at the top of our hour. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate you so much. Keep in mind, next Thursday, not this week, but the 25th, will be our Fun Fearless Female gathering with favorite TV shows. And in the meantime, I want you all to keep in mind that this time is yours. And life's not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. So choose wisely. Choose what you want to be when you grow up. And then just kind of think about that. It might just change your perspective on how you live each of your days. So go out, guys. Thanks so much. See you next week. Bye.